Hello Aqua friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Nicole and I'm going to teach you painting techniques that will help you achieve this gorgeous atmospheric effect. But before we get into those tips and techniques, if you want to up your watercolor game and save time in the learning process, then hit that subscribe button. I upload long form videos every week with complete voiceovers to guide you through. Plus, I do post a lot of YouTube shorts with some fun tips and projects to try. All right, so let's dive into things. And the first up technique is wet on wet watercolor. This is the most widely used technique in watercolor. And as you can see, I'm wetting the paper really well. You want to take your time and make sure that it really is very well saturated. And then I'm dropping in my indigo blue for the distant hazy hillsides. You can further manipulate the flow by using a spray bottle as well as gravity by tilting your paper. You get this really great flowing effect that happens all on its own. So while things are really wet, I'm adding in the distant trees on that hillside. And everything is very soft, out of focus, and misty looking. Once you're happy with that, we have to block in our main objects, which are the two hillsides. I'm using an oval brush and I'm using my Van Dyke brown. For some added interest, I'm going in with my shadow green just to keep things interesting. Basically, this is using a limited palette of greens, browns, and blues, which are the local colors in this picture. I'm adding those same colors into the water in the foreground. So now I'm coming in with a darker color of brown, my sepia. My paper is drying, but I am going over that cliff with a darker mixture, dropping in some darker colors and getting that cliff as dark as it needs to be. If you squint at your reference photo, you'll be able to tell if you need to go darker. Now what I'm doing here is dropping in some of my gold green. This is called charging, and basically it's a fancy word for saying that you're dropping in a color into an already wet color, and it moves and it invades that area, and it does all kinds of wonderful things all on its own. And if that's not enough, I'm also throwing in a few grains of salt for added texture. And moving on to the next cliff, I'm going to work that cliff in the same manner. Getting those colors darker, charging it with some pretty colors, and adding in my salt. Now with a steady hand and a sweeping motion, I'm adding in those brown colors to the water area to make waves. Next up is the foliage, and with a round brush, this is a size 6 or a size 4, will work as well. I do love the Black Velvet series brushes by Princeton. They're actually a combination of synthetic and natural fibers, so it does have some sort of snap, but it also holds a lot of water. So you could paint a really long time without having to reload your brush. Now you're probably asking, why am I going so light here with my trees? I want to get the basic shapes, and basically I'm just being a little bit of a scaredy cat here to go with my big bold colors. I want to work things up slowly, and I want to make sure that I'm really liking and digging the way that my trees are looking before I go too dark. So that is always a good thing to do in watercolor. We always build up our colors slowly. We always work from lights to darks. So what I do on one side, I'm doing on the other, and I'm adding in those tree shapes on the other cliff. So I'm going to let that whole thing dry, and then I'm going to go back in, and basically in my second layer, it's just getting my trees as dark as they need to be. And so it's a value adjustment, but my pretty shapes are already made, and so I'm just following. It's kind of like my roadmap. I'm just following my roadmap. So you make yourself a roadmap, and then you're confident, you know that it looks good, and you can just go for it. So in some areas I work with a drier mixture, and then in areas where the trees really blend together, I do add more water and drop in my colors. And so you have a combination of lost and found edges and soft areas and hard areas. And it really leaves it up to your imagination so that you're not having to painstakingly try to draw in every branch, because that would just be madness, right? Do we agree on that? So it does have a really pretty effect, and it just really blends well together. So adding in some sap green for some pops of color here. I'm wetting some of the tree area on the other side. This is a large pine tree on the left-hand side. So I'm working this one more wet into wet as far as the body of the tree goes, and having some more defined edges along the edge of the tree line. And just really enjoy this process. This is very relaxing, painting nature. Trees are so much fun to paint, have so much character. Now to finish this off, I'm using a flat, dry brush. It is loaded with some paint, but because it's very dry, it skims over the surface and it picks up the toothiness of the paper, as you can see. This is a really cool effect and adds in those shadows in the water area. And just like that, we successfully painted a masterpiece. Let me know what you think about this techniques that we used today. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week.